The 2010 Brisa Chardonnay comes from multiple vineyards within Sonoma County. We're focused on vineyards mainly in Russian River Valley in cool climates on very limited soils. We prefer to have vineyards that are on Gold Ridge soils, which are very sandy in texture and very light and well drained, and you tend to get Chardonnay that is very effusive, that has great ripe tropical flavors. We also have a vineyard in Sonoma Coast that is adding structure and richness to the wine. Our focus in making Chardonnay is to be as gentle as possible and let the vineyard speak as loudly as possible. So there are many different things that we're doing in the vineyards and the winery to help facilitate the vineyard telling a story. Before we taste the wine, I'd like to talk a little bit about how we go to bottle. You'll notice the wine appears to be slightly hazy, and that is because we don't find the wine and we don't filter the wine, which is pretty unique. There are a few people, a small contingent of people that don't find or don't filter Chardonnay, but you are putting yourself at some level of risk, but I think the reward is great in that you don't strip the wine of texture, of flavor, of personality. When you find and filter, you're really stripping the wine of personality, vineyard expression, and part of the soul of the wine.
What it goes back to is just our core belief of true vineyard expression, and that's the final touch on the winemaking protocol that allows that to happen. So our 2010 Brisa has a nice golden straw color. It's very rich and effusive in the glass, very warm caramel, oaky notes, and nice minerality, melon, fig.
There's a real brightness texturally, but also the flavors are just penetrating, and I get this great tropical character, this fresh, ripe peach, pear. There's this beautiful nutty, like almost hazelnut and roasted marshmallow. What I really love about this wine is it's both rich, but also it's very penetrating and bright and vibrant. It has this great length to it that just sails on and on. I mean, even after I taste the wine, 30 seconds later, I'm still getting that real fresh flavor and that vibrant sensation from the wine. So the 2010 Brisa is coming from various vineyards throughout Sonoma County. Many of our preferred sites are in the cool regions near Sebastopol. We really like the Dutton Ranch. It provides really the basis for the fruit and expression of the wine. And we're also getting fruit from the San Giacomo vineyard in Sonoma Coast. Most of the grapes that we're selecting are coming from the cool sites in Russian River. We really like the Old Winty selection, which is not really a clone, but it's a field selection. So someone found something they really liked in their vineyard and propagated it and shared it. So Old Winty is really probably the most preferred clone in Sonoma County, and I think if it's handled correctly in the vineyard and you farm diligently, I think it offers the most structure and richness of any Chardonnay field selection or clone. Many people talk about the importance of vineyard expression and trying to be gentle in the winemaking process. And if you surveyed 100 different winemakers, I'm sure they'd all say that that's critical, that that's important. But knowing how to do it and employing the right methodologies and the right techniques is paramount in allowing your vineyard to express itself. Some of the things that we do specifically to encourage that expression are native primary fermentation. So we don't add any inoculated yeast strains. We don't add any commercial yeast strains. We allow the yeast that are living in the vineyard on the grape skins to come in with the grapes and begin the fermentation process. During that period, there's dozens of different yeast strains vying for the sugar in the grapes, and they're all offering little bits of nuance to the wine. That's the real benefit of native fermentation. It's really allowing the vineyard to speak. We do a long, slow malolactic, which is the process where bacteria actually converts a certain type of acid, malic acid, into a softer form called lactic acid. And during that period of time, we're stirring the barrels weekly to try to integrate the yeast cells and provide richness and nourishment for the malolactic bacteria. And that's called botonnage, and that's a very important process in making great Chardonnay. Every cluster of Chardonnay goes across our sorting tables, and we inspect every berry to make sure that only perfectly ripened fruit is allowed to go into our presses. We do whole cluster press, which is a time-honored tradition, and it's a very gentle technique to try to bring out some of the delicacy and finesse of Chardonnay. The very long malolactic fermentation allows the wine to harmonize with the barrel, and even beyond malolactic fermentation, we do botanage stirring, where we resuspend the lees through the barrel. That it protects against oxygen exposure and keeps the wine fresh.
Keeps it lively and fresh and fruity